The potter places a lump of clay onto the wheel, knowing that conditions must be just right for shaping and molding the clay into something useful. In this same way, teachers must capture and understand necessary and sufficient conditions needed to shape the destiny of our students. This professional development presentation is designed to provide teachers with new suggestions for effective teaching. These suggestions are based on emerging research regarding learning methods that can actually create or shape new brain cell growth. The catalyst for this presentation stems from the learner-centered teaching model of Terry Doyle. In his book, Terry uses emerging research to discuss how certain learning activities help to encourage new cell growth or learning among students. Those who teach are urged to read Doyle's book and discover new ways of helping students become lifelong learners. The ideas to remold or shape come from the definition of the word plasticity. Neuroplasticity, then, is the shaping or making of new connections among brain cells. Terry Doyle, in his book, presents some of the emerging research on how teachers can actually introduce new methods of learning that in turn create new connections, or neuroplasticity, in the brains of students. Doyle emphasizes the importance for educators in following the research when it comes to applying best practices. His book focuses on studies among several disciplines, including psychology, education, and medicine. Specifically, he concentrates on emerging research in the field of neuroscience. Teachers who follow the research trends will discover how new learning methods may actually promote new neural connections in the brain. One suggested method for creating neural connections in the brain involves placing the responsibility of learning upon the student. Doyle asserts that teachers should optimize opportunities for students to learn in new ways and creative ways. The idea is for class time to contain less lecture, like in a traditional classroom, but rather encourage other activity which places the learning upon the student. The idea of helping students become responsible for their own learning also means that the role of teacher must change from the sage on the stage to a guide on the side. A teacher must become a facilitator of learning, empowering students to problem solve and have meaningful experiences both in and out of the classroom. Doyle believes that optimal learning occurs when students are given choices for how they learn. One method for reshaping the learning environment is through group discussions. Small group discussions are more engaging for students than traditional lectures. Research in Doyle's book also suggests that allowing students to interact and problem solve in small groups actually encourages them to understand why they need to learn and helps them become more lifelong learners. Another suggestion to increase brain cell growth includes creating a learning environment that appeals to all the senses. It's believed that senses work together more effectively for learning when used simultaneously and not in isolation. For example, research has linked positive preferred smells to greater recall memory. Oral and visual stimuli also used together have given a higher rate of memory recall. The use of games through web-based technology is also cited as promising, since a high number of adults in the U.S. use this kind of media outlets in their own personal lives. Doyle encourages teachers to design lessons to promote sensory stimuli. Research is also pointing to other factors that may contribute to neural cell growth in the brain. These include getting proper sleep, at least 8 hours, or decreasing stressful situations, and even the feeling of safety. Doyle suggests for teachers to create safe, less stressful learning environments in which students will gain higher levels of focus and concentration. It's believed that certain food substances, like caffeine, sugar, these serve as stimulants that increase both the ability to concentrate and have higher levels of memory recall. These abilities may also be linked to new cell growth in the brain. Notable attention has been given to the link between routine exercise and body movement to increase synaptic firing and neural connections in the brain. Body activity has also been linked to increased productions of chemicals in the brain that are believed to be responsible for learning. These chemicals include dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine. Some teachers and school districts have begun using physical activity in the classroom to promote healthier learning environments. Doyle even cites specific examples of increased academic scores among certain school districts in which physical activity is used prior to and during classroom learning. A main idea coupled with neuroplasticity is the idea for teachers to get students to do the work. When students are responsible for their learning, and when they are empowered to develop learning skills, they are more apt to become lifelong learners. Plasticity for students occurs when learning is new, challenging, and meaningful. Teachers must also be open to change. In the learner-centered model, Doyle argues that teachers must be willing to reshape their methods as research trends on effective learning emerge. He encourages teachers to engage with advanced planning and preparation so that actual class time will create new learning experiences for students that are both challenging and meaningful. Teachers who embrace new methods of learning may also experience some kind of resistance from colleagues or school administrators. These folks sometimes do not follow the emerging research. In some cases, Doyle urges teachers to use current research on how the brain learns to give support to their efforts, and to convince those who resist to be open toward new methods of learning. Teachers can develop a portfolio or a collection of effective learning methods in order to track how changes in pedagogy are creating optimal learning opportunities. A portfolio may include course syllabi or lesson plans, student evaluations, peer evaluations, grading rubrics, or any material that would aid in archiving a teacher's work over time. Plasticity refers to the ability to reshape and make new connections. For learning, it involves the ability to be challenged with new situations that are challenging and meaningful. For teaching, plasticity means to acquire new tools, skills, and implementing them to create positive and effective learning environments for students. It allows us all to reshape how we teach and learn.